Okay, hello everyone. Welcome to this CSS lesson and tutorial on filters and opacity. Now, this was a custom request made right from Facebook, and I've been meaning to talk about it for a while. So, CSS filters are a new CSS, relatively new CSS 3 properties that can be really useful, and it is nice knowing. So, let's get started and see exactly how we're going to learn to apply that. Okay, so right here we have a little web page I built, and I made use of Bootstrap. So if we should go down here, so we're going to see this. Now if I should over on this, you're going to see it add a little effect right here. And also if I should over on the second image, you see it added a bit of effect. The image became grayscale, and then for this it added a bit of effect. So this has been used in various cases, can be used in various cases. And the first time I saw things like this used on sites, I was surprised because I didn't know how to use that, and that was some years back. But now I'm going to be taking you through everything you need to know about CSS filters and how to get started. So we're going to applying our filters to these images. So I've uploaded the image, the course files description. So any other CSS lessons we have, you can one you my code, and I basically just have two files here, which is the HTML file. So let me quickly explain what I have right here. Okay, so basically all I have is the header, and then I have a section which contains this image which was gotten from Unsplash and uploaded by Carl Fredrickson. Then right here I have another section which is this container fluid right here, and it has two main sections, which is the heading and then a column. So we have three um columns here. So we have the figure, which contains these images, and then their captions, which are these texts here. So and then in the CSS, um all I basically have is, okay, just the styling, additional styling, and then adding of some filters to some of these images right here. So whenever you hover on them, it's going to add these transitions and effects. So and then basically this over button just to go to the main part of what we are dealing with. So I'm going to go back up, and okay, now here are the possible CSS filter values. Now if you've ever worked with Photoshop, for examples, you can add different options on your layers. So this is similar, CSS filters are similar to the this. So there is also a filter option panel in Photoshop, yeah, I think, so which you can add various things. So I've made it easier and okay, listed all of the filter values, and okay, the filter properties and what they take inside. So each function, so for blur you can put in length. So for this you can put in length on percentage. For example, you rotate takes in angle. So let's activate our live server. Okay, so it seems our Bootstrap CSS is not loading, so I added the Bootstrap CDN here. So let me save and view that we're back. Okay, so right here to this image filter, and if I should come here, filter. So let's start with the first property, with the which is blur. So as I said earlier, it can take in length, and remember in when you are using length um in CSS, okay, let's say you want to add a bit of border or margin, you can use pixels, you can use um relative width such as rem or em etc. So let's see how that works. So if I should come here and put 12 pixels on, and we can see it applies this bit of blur, so 5 pixels, so it's going to apply the blur. Okay, just 2 pixels, and let's see what that does. Okay, right here, and we can also apply, let's say, inches, so can put to 0.2 inches, and we can see that applies that. Okay, 0.012, so we can see that. And then okay, let's see, let's use 2 rem, so we can see how blurry that is. Okay, and another thing, okay, the next one we're going to use is the brightness. Okay, so let's remove this and save. Okay, it's back to normal. And then brightness, so you can increase the brightness of a particular image, for example. So let's put 2 pixels and let's see what happens. Okay, that didn't show. Okay, all right, I think brightness doesn't take in any units, so putting that to 2, it's going to double the brightness. And let's put it to 10, and we can see how bleached out that is. And okay, coming back to, let's say, 0.2, okay, we can see that now. What you should note is, when if it's somebody, you have to increase it from 1. It has to be, so 1.1 will make it brighter, and 1.5, okay, that's going to be very apparent. Now if I should reduce it to give it the half of the brightness. And another thing is, if I should use percentage, 100% is the normal value. So if I should reduce this to 50, now you see it becomes darker. So the normal value is at 100. If you need image to be brighter, you have to increase it above 100%. So if I should put it to 200%, that will be 2 times of the normal value, which is this. And then moving on to contrast. So contrast, so I can use, okay, my contrast, let's use 1. So that's the normal value. It's similar to the brightness also. And okay, if I should increase it to 1.5, we can see the contrast increased. And if I want to reduce the contrast, I can use 0.5. So okay, before talking about the box shadow, I want to make sure to, okay, let me put it right here. Okay, I want to make sure to talk about grayscale and um you rotate. So if we should look here, you see that we have grayscale properties added to this. So yeah, so now let's go back to what we're working on, and then we're going to apply grayscale. So grayscale, let's use 100%. So and then we have this. So if you should use 0%, now you should know that grayscale is a bit different from brightness and contrast. Now grayscale, originally your image is in zero, the grayscale applied on your images is in 0%. So if you want to increase the grayscale, you're going to increase the percentages that we have. So 10%, it's adding a bit of grayscale. So if you want 50%, you can see it's actually fading out the colors and applying the effect. And then 100% is going to be full blown grayscale. And then okay, we can also specify the value in length. So now 1 means total grayscale, which is also 100%. Then 0, that means you are not applying any grayscale effects to that. And then okay, moving on to you rotate. So you rotate. Now this basically deals with the color wheel. So I've actually highlighted this to make it some tools to make it easier for us. So before going there, okay, let me just quickly add a bit of effect. So this takes in angle and it basically rotates through the color wheel. If I should put in 90-degree, and you can see what we have here. So if I should put in 20, 200, okay, you see it's going to change. So one of the tools you can use right here, I'm going to drop the link in the description below. So right here, so once you click on you rotate, then you can select okay whichever value to see how it's going to look like. So you rotate, so it's going to rotate through the color we're applying various um color replacement, kind of like a color replacement. So and also we have a similar tool right here. So the you rotate, then you can move it around and see how it looks like. So this way it can give you a preview before adding something that might not look so good. And before I continue, now I want to show us the support for CSS filters. Now other major browsers CSS filters, so we have Edge, okay, the latest version released on 23rd, and even from supported since 2020. So and the 2020 fully supported. So and then we have Chrome, we have Safari, Opera, and then we have iOS Safari. Now the browsers not really supporting CSS filters are Opera Mini, so and then Internet Explorer. So if those are not really your concern, you can actually make use of CSS filters. Like I said, I've seen it in use some years ago when the support was not even that strong. So and then we have Opera Mobile, Android browser, Chrome for Android. These mobile browsers actually support CSS filters. So without any further ado, let's continue. And okay, for you rotate, let's continue for you rotate. So right here, going back to what we have, so 200 degrees, we can put it to um 290 and see it has rotated the colors again. And then let's move to box shadow. Okay, drop shadow. Now if you've ever used box shadow before, it is similar to this. Now basically you can see shadow is applied here. So now you can use the CSS filter property to actually add box shadow, and I'm going to talk about the thing I think which is the major difference between the box shadow and then the this adding a filter of drop shadow. So I can specify something like 10 pixels, 20 pixels, 30 pixels, and then black. So basically you just add the horizontal, vertical, and then the blur. So saving that, you can see we have this. So you can change the color. Instead of this, I can put RGBA, then 000, then 0.15. So let's see what that gives us. You see it makes it add a bit of transparency to the color. So if I should increase this, it's going to make it kind of deeper. So making this 0.5 means I have transparency for the color. So you can see that, and then making this one, which is the alpha channel editing. This RGB is for the first and the first three values here, and then the last one is the alpha, which is the transparency. So if I should save this, you see it becomes this, and then I can also adjust the blur, increase the blur to, let's say, 100 pixels, and you see we have the shadow extending. So we'll talk a bit more about drop shadow later. So okay, then we have invert. So invert, let's see, we had one, and we can see, so it's this invert is kind of similar to grayscale also, so in the sense that if I should use 0, it does not apply anything, so it's going to invert the colors in the your images. So let me put something like 200%. So I guess you can see the correlation between percentage and using of the length, and then going to opacity. Okay, remember we also have opacity. Okay, so opacity property on its own, so let's put it to 0.2. We can see it fades it in, so 0.1, and by putting it in 0, opacity 0, you see it's kind of hides that, and then putting it to 1, so it's going to give it the full making it fully visible. Now okay, same way with what we have here, 0.2. So you see it's going to add that, and then 0.5 does halfway half opacity. Okay, and then we saturation. If apart from web design you've a big graphics or some other things, you might have worked with hue and saturation, so kind of like increase and blow out the colors in a particular image. So if I should make these okay 2, so let's make this one just to see. Okay, this is the normal image. So let's say I want to increase the color all through. You see it's okay, so I can make the saturate, let's say 5, and you see it's going to increase. Now this is too much. Now same with percentage, 100%, so which is the normal value, and then increasing it 200%, which is also equivalent to just making use of 2. So but then okay, let's increase it 500%, so we can see what we have, which is also the same if I should use 5, and 1, which is also the same as 100%. And lastly okay, we have sepia. Okay, and similar to what we have before, we can see it's added adds this sepia effect. So I'm sure some of these you might have even come across it if you've ever edited maybe added a filter from even from your phone. So let's say 200%, 300%. Okay, so we have these. Okay, 100%. So and if you just want to add 50%, so we can have this. Okay, and that's just basically the summary on CSS filters. And now explaining what I did here. So basically now what I added was an over effect, which is okay whenever this is overed on, and then okay we have these filter applied to each and every one of them, and then a transition to ease it out, and then initially adding a bit of arrangement and alignment to the caption and making it non-visible except when it's overed on. Now if I should remove the transition effect, and I should bring it, you see, it's just basically going to remove that smooth animation. And okay, for further tutorials or for learning more about CSS filters and properties, CSS filters and animation, sorry, I mean CSS transitions and animations, I'm going to be creating tutorials very soon, which is going to explain everything concisely, everything you need to know about CSS animations, CSS transition, how to add some smooth effect to your web page and make it lively and interactive. So let me remove this, and then we have this again, so which is basically what we added. So now let's talk a bit about the difference between the drop shadow and the box shadow. Okay, so right here I'm going to duplicate this image here. So I got a free image, PNG image, right, from PNG tree. So I'm going to link that here, so which is logo PNG. So let's save that. Okay, so I have an image here that I got from PNG tree. Now you should know that the bootstrap shadow class, it adds a box shadow so to your image. So we already have a box shadow added here. So I'm going to copy this and paste. Now for this first one, I'm going to remove the shadow property. Okay, so we have this, and then the second one has the box shadow added. And then okay, another thing I'm going to do is the one that has the box shadow added, I'm going to remove the image filter, so we'll be able to see that applied. Now let's come back to our filter. So and then we have drop shadow. Add, okay, 20 pixels for blur, and then RGBA to add 000, then 0.5. Okay, no, it meant is not 0.05. So let's save. Now I'm going to scroll up to this. Now if you notice the drop shadow filter function, it adds a shadow property to the edges of that particular images, making it better and giving it exactly what I need. So but for the drop shadow, it adds to the whole edge of the image. So if you need something that, okay, to apply a drop shadow to a kind of shadow that, okay, is going to actually apply to each edges of the image, then you're going to need to make use of this. But for the whole edge of the image, you can make use of the box shadow. So that's basically the differences between them. So I'm going to comment this out. So I'm going to upload everything, both the images added, to the GitHub repository, and you can check it out, play with it, learn and master CSS filters and opacities and the differences between box shadow and drop shadow. So if you enjoy this video, don't hesitate to like, share and subscribe to our channel, so you keep receiving more and more awesome tutorials like this and lessons. So, and if you haven't checked it out, I would recommend you check out the Learn HTML, CSS and JavaScript the Practical Way. Is an ongoing series and free course on YouTube where we'll be learning to build different stuff right from scratch. So, and this is actually very important, so you learn to build different projects. So thank you very much, and I'm going to see you in the next lesson.